Right, let's try that again. Part 2. See if we can have a bit more luck this time. Okay, sounds looking good. Welcome back, everyone. Yeah, sorry about that. Some technical difficulties there. For all those that were joining in the chat, apologies. Yeah, just the whole thing went down. So we're back. We're back. I've got some images so we can go through some of the key events on. You can go through some of the key events of the episode. What did you think? We've already had a vote in the chat poll. Let me know what your thoughts were in the comments though as well. And if you're new to the channel, welcome. Welcome. Great to have you with us tonight. Let me know what your thoughts were. I thought it was a cracking episode. Honestly, I think the only thing that it was lacking was White Walkers. Not lacking, but the only thing it didn't have was White Walkers. It literally had everything else. Politics, and I said this in just the first part about half an hour ago. Politics, great acting, slow maneuvering, really complex, in-depth stories. It had dragons, it had prophecy, it had lore, it had book lore. My God, what didn't it have? It had a naked Aemond, for God's sake. It had everything. So there isn't really much. I don't actually think I've got any complaints about this episode. I mean, I guess just to get it out there, right? I guess the only criticism I have of this episode is they're starting to rub me the wrong way about how they're treating the men, because they're either a dick or they are not as badass as we once thought they were in season 1. Like, we came out of season 1 thinking Aemond, yeah, he's a bit psychotic, but he's a fucking badass. Aemond is a badass. Even Viserys, badass. But I think they're trying to humanise him too much. We need more masculine energy in this, and we've got to keep that. We've got to keep that, because I don't want, we've got Kristen Cole, right? He's a piece of shit, but he brings such a lot of energy and masculinity to the show. Anyway, that aside, I thought it was a fantastic episode. Out of 5, I'd probably give it a 4.6. Out of 10, I'd probably give it a I'd probably give it a 9. I'd probably give it a low 9. It was really good. Really enjoyed it. Like I said though, in the poddy before, I wish, and let's start with the Brackens, right? Because I wish we would have seen more of this fight. I think we were robbed of the Brackens versus the Blackwoods. I think we were. And I wish they've definitely cut away too soon. I think we should have seen more of this fight. We should have seen more of the battle, more of the blood and guts, and it just would have hyped up their feud even more. So that's the one disappointment I have. I wouldn't call it a flaw in the episode. I just think because it's so damn good, you just want to see more. But I think that was probably one of the slight criticisms I had about the episode. Anyway, we've talked that battle to death. Now, the council scene was fantastic. We had Aegon basically ruling the roost, and then the supporting guys. So we had let's get the tree up if we can. So we had Jason Lannister, we had Jasper Ward, and we had Maester Orwell, all kind of chipping in with their 2 cents. Allison trying to get some sort of control, because clearly no one would be doing that if Otto was at the table. That's the thing here. That's the difference here. No one would be acting the way they were if Otto was at the table. But they seem like they think they can act however they want. Now Kristen Cole is Hand of the King. But he comes out with an absolute belter of a plan. I mean, he literally takes the ball by its horns and says, I got this. We're going to ride into battle. We're going to, ride against Rhaenyra. We're going to kick some ass. And he's doing exactly what Aegon wants him to do. That steel fist. Yes, it's kind of gung-ho. Yes, it's like diving into the deep end straight away, and you're not really thinking strategically. Have you got enough men? Have you got enough equipment? Are you going to be able to face the challenges ahead of you? But he thinks, fuck it, I've got a plan. I'm going to go for it. Now, it doesn't quite go to plan later on in the episode. Now, this was one of the most... this was quite an interesting scene with Rhaenyra and Mysaria. And we had that dragon the entire time in the background, which I think was cool as hell. Sea smoke, chilling, giving us reference back to Season 1 with Laenor. And the biggest takeaway from this scene for me was that subtle little line that Mysaria had about... the dragons are lonely, or this dragon is lonely in particular. Now, what does that mean? Well, coupled by the fact that we had Ulf the White claim this episode that he's part Targaryen, and he dropped that line, or he dropped that word, dragon seed. Now, that's a big word from the books. Massive word. And I'm not going to spoil what it means, but... they're starting to kind of give us an understanding that there are dragons to be claimed. So why don't we get some people to claim them? Because she said the dragons are lonely. So we're really starting to build a picture now about where this season is going to go. And the types of storylines we're likely to get in terms of these new characters claiming to be dragon Targaryens, and... they keep making references to dragons either being riderless, wild, or lonely now. So that's where this season, I think, is going to go. Obviously, we know that from the books, but obviously there's been the odd change here and there from the books. So let's see how it goes. Let's see where that kind of dragon storyline goes. Now, probably one of my favourite parts of this episode was Daemon looking absolutely freaking badass in that Valyrian steel armour. Absolutely fire armour, that is, no pun intended. He looks absolutely badass in that. And to be quite frank, I don't think anyone can be as cool as Daemon in this armour in this show, right? I want to see more of him. I want to see him fighting in this armour and battling and kicking ass in this armour. Now, obviously, this shot doesn't represent everything that went on, but we had him basically claiming Harrenhal, similar to how he did it in the books. He strolls in, they basically bend over for him, and he says, Harrenhal's mine, which is pretty much how it goes in the books, which is fantastic. No resistance from the Strong household, and it was great to see the justification as to why they're handing it over to Rhaenyra, because of the whole thing that Larys did to his dad and to Harwin Strong last season. Let me get the names up. Harwin and Lionel Strong last season. And it was great to see that justification as to why this is so easily being handed over to Daemon and Rhaenyra. Because I was watching it with the wife, and the wife mentioned, oh, is he going to kind of, when he mentioned about storming King's Landing, is he going to go and try and claim the throne for himself? And I thought that was a really good observation. But what I think is going to happen is, this is his plan. This is what he wants to do. He wants to go and claim Harrenhal with his dragon, And I think he's going to try and not rule, but he's going to try and play his part of Team Black's plan from Harrenhal here, similar to what he does in the books. But of course, we kind of get less of that division in the books between Rhaenyra and Daemon. Obviously, they don't see each other for the remainder of the books. But what we've now got is there's a clear divide within Team Black, within that faction. I don't think he's going to go for a, make a run for the throne. I hope he doesn't, because that would kind of go massively against what we know from the book. Although the book isn't true canon. But it just seems typical Daemon to go and do whatever he wants, but also still be on Team Rhaenyra, still be on Team Black. So, fantastic kind of opening where the dragon lands. I thought that was fucking badass. And Daemon absolutely looking 100 out of 100 in that Valyrian steel armour. He's got Dark Sister, so giving us a nod. The book fans a nod to the lore there. Like I said, this had everything this episode. Lore, book lore, prophecy. We'd had references back to season 1. I was waiting for the White Walkers to jump out at one point. So yeah, I thought this was a really put together kind of introduction to Harrenhal, and it really gets the vibe that it's been burnt to a crisp. It's a haunted place after what Aegon the Conqueror did. I don't think any episode of Game of Thrones or House of the Dragon has referenced Aegon the Conqueror as much as this episode did. And I thought it was great. Another great sit down and talk, slow, really kind of old school Game of Thrones vibe scene this was, I think, and really well acted, especially by, I can't remember his name, but we've got the strong guy. Yeah, we've got whoever the Castellan of Harrenhal is. This guy here, this guy with the white, the guy that we saw, obviously. I think he's Larys's uncle. I'm going to have to get him on the family tree, actually. But essentially, Daemon obviously doesn't believe him because he thinks he's going to get poisoned, which is only fair to assume. Excuse me, only fair to assume. But yeah, I thought it was brilliantly acted, and it was like, yeah, take it, mate. The castle's yours. So this is where Daemon's going to be perched for. I'm definitely thinking the rest of the season. I think he's going to be perched here now. He's already claimed his bed, and he's. It seems like he's been given a warm welcome by the Strongs. And obviously now we've also got that time back into Rhaenyra with the fact that her kids are biologically Harwin Strongs. So I think that they've got some sort of duty there as well to Rhaenyra. Right, then we're back in King's Landing and we're introduced to Sir Gwen Hightower, Alicent's brother, who I'm introduced to, and I'm digging him already. I think he's a great addition. I think we were lacking on the Hightower front. Now Aegon's left, and we kind of needed to fill that role with someone charismatic and a bit more energetic and a bit cheeky. And I think he brings absolutely everything of that to the table. Whilst Otto is obviously in Old Town, and whilst we're without Daeron, who is a very important player in the seasons to come. I know we got the Daeron, another kind of reference to Daeron in this episode, but I honestly doubt we will see him this season. I really do, because I don't think the story will advance enough for Daeron to be introduced. Because as far as I can remember, I don't think he plays a part in the Battle of Rook's Rest. I think it's after the Battle of the Gullet. Anyway, I thought it was great. We got the Hightower symbol. It looks like he's just a knight. It doesn't look like he's going to be part of any sort of Kingsguard or anything like that. But I thought it was a great addition. Kind of takes the piss out of Kristen Cole, as many people are doing this episode. He's a piece of shit, though, Kristen Cole. So, but I think he's playing such a good part, Kristen. And I love what they've I'm quite digging what they've done with his character. I know he's a bit of a kind of a dartboard in this season, but he's just playing such a great complex character, and I really like the way he's acting and his kind of attitude towards different situations, particularly this situation where he kind of listened to everyone and he was like, right, I'm the hand, this is what we're doing, this is the plan, and Aegon's all for it because he wants that steel hand. So anyway, I thought it was a really good introductory scene with Sir Gwen. Anyway, we move on to, there's kind of some, I'm getting the sense now that the Lords, Rhaenyra's Black Council is really starting to kind of undermine her. They're really starting to think of plans without considering Rhaenyra, whether she's going to take action against them and just fuck them all off, or whether she's going to start to listen to them. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think it's really Rhaenyra and Rhaenys making the decisions on Dragonstone, and she's only got these guys here for kind of moral support. But it seems like they want to take action now. They want to take things in their own hands, because they even dropped that line where they said, why don't you go somewhere safe and we'll figure this out for you. We'll try and, figure out how to win this war and how to take on the Greens. Good division, though, and typical Game of Thrones, that you're not even safe with your own council. So I thought this was another interesting scene. Slow, I must admit, and a lot of this episode was slow, but I think we got more action than we did in episode 1 and 2. I thought there was more action in this episode than there was compared to the other two. This was a sweet scene, and it's really showing, and it's really building that the real loved relationship between these two characters. And if you're a fan of the books, you'll understand why I'm saying that. If you're not a fan of the books, if you haven't read Fire and Blood, you'll understand by the end of this season as to why that they keep showing these two characters, Rhaenys and Corlys, loved up and really having this great bond and this great attitude towards one another. Not much to be said about this scene, though. Right, then we get is it Baylor, I think? Let me just check what's the name again? Rhaena, sorry, always get them mixed up. So we've got Rhaena here on the right, and Rhaena is basically being sent to Lady Jane Arryn, who I do think we will see later on in this season, because we've saw clips of her, I think, in the trailers or some of the behind-the-scenes footage of this episode. And basically, Rhaenyra here is fulfilling her promise to Lady Jane Arryn, and is taking dragon eggs, which is a massive callback, I think, to Daenerys in Game of Thrones Season 1, Episode 1, with those dragon eggs. And we saw those dragon eggs actually on the trailer, on one of the first trailers for Season 2. So yeah, she's basically counting on Rhaena to go to the Vale and protect where she can, and protect the kids as well. So the younglings are going with her as well. I couldn't quite grasp where Joffrey was going, though. Maybe he's going with her. Let me know in the comments, though, because I can't remember. I've only watched the episode 1.5 times, sort of. I've watched it once all the way through with the wife, and then I've kind of blitzed through it, getting these images. So I couldn't remember where Joffrey went, the youngling. But yeah, you can really see the pain in Rhaena's eyes, and the acting's really on point here, because you can tell that she doesn't want to go, but even her sisters told her, you've kind of got to go for the family. You've got to do your part in all of this. This is your role, and you've got to do it to the best you can. So get yourself going, love, and make yourself useful, basically. Now, I still am not clear whatsoever about which side Larys is on. Is he on Aegon's side? Is he playing his own sort of Game of Thrones? Because I'm really getting Master of Whispers Varys vibes from him, and Peter Baelish vibes. And I think that's the point, right? It's a combination between these two. It's a combination of Peter Baelish and Varys from Game of Thrones. But what's his goal? What's his kind of... What's his... What outcome does he want here? Does he want Aegon on the throne? Does he want it... Does he want no one? Is he playing the Game of Thrones for somebody else? Does he have a secret master? I mean, there's big talk online that he's a warg and he's warging into the rats, and he's basically spying on everyone within the Red Keep now because he's got control over the people, because he put them in office in the Red Keep to look after the Targaryens, look after Aegon and the wife, and and Alicent, etc. But also he might be doing some warging and some almost kind of some warging into the rats to figure out what else is going on. So I'm still can't quite put my finger on what Larys's kind of end game is here and what his purpose is. Is he just there to help Aegon? That seems a bit too shallow. That sort of kind of that approach to Larys. It seems very shallow, and there's got to be something deeper to his agenda. What I didn't realise is that we met Ulf in the previous episode. And I wonder why we spent so much time on Ulf in the previous episode. But he was in that scene with the rat catchers, and he was asking that woman who they were. And obviously she mentioned they were rat catchers, but they're also sons and brothers and fathers. And I kind of didn't put two and two together and figure out that it was Ulf. But in this, it's clear that they're setting him up to be, well, they're clearly setting him up to be some sort of disruptor within the, within Rhaenyra's camp. I think he's going, look, he claims to be Jaehaerys the Conciliator's son, and that name was dropped as much as Aegon the Conqueror's name was dropped in this episode. So, if you're a fan of the books and you've read Fire and Blood again, you'll know exactly where Ulf's story goes. But if you haven't, I think you can start to kind of get a sense of how that he's going to prove himself as a Targaryen bastard, and how he's going to support Rhaenyra in this war to come. I think it's quite obvious from this scene about what role he's going to play in Rhaenyra's camp. Yes, he played his part when Aegon was in the bar, and yes, he's got these wild, I guess, confessions that he's a Targaryen and he was Jaehaerys' son, but he's got to be able to prove it some way. And there's not really many ways that you prove how you are a Targaryen unless you've got purple eyes and silver blonde hair, which he hasn't by the looks of it. So it's clear that he's on Team Rhaenyra. He's clear that he's on Team Black. He's clear that he hates the Greens, or he's clear that he's pro his father. He's clearly on his father's side, which means I think he's going to be an ally to Rhaenyra in maybe the next 1 or 2 episodes. So, yeah, I thought we got quite a lot of information from Ulf, and it's clear that he's a really respected member of the common folk. So I want to see more of Ulf. I think he's a good character. I think he's going to bring a lot to this, to this season. Right, then we finally get Rhaenyra opening the letter that she received from Alicent, or one of the letters that she received from Alicent all that time ago. And I think the TLDR for the letter is, let's figure out a way we can, put aside our differences and come to some sort of resolution for all of this. Now, the easiest thing to have fucking done, really, was to have married Aegon and Rhaenyra together when they were of age. That was one of the easiest outs to all of this conflict. But obviously, no. Aegon's now got Helena, and he had his 2 children. Now he's got the 1. In the books, he's got 3. Or he had 3, and then he had 2. But, you know, it's clear that Rhaenyra doesn't want war. That's clear. But it's clear that war's already started. And I'm glad. Now let's just see what the next... I'm glad when we got to this scene that we saw Alicent in the same light, or almost the same light, as what we got from her in the books, which was very much pro Team Green. You know, I'm very much on the side of Aegon. I want what Aegon wants, and maybe she doesn't want war, but she knows war is inevitable now. But also, the big thing about this scene, and we'll come back to the others, but the big thing about this scene is I couldn't understand at the start of this season what they were going to do with Rhaenyra and Alicent, because to be quite frank, they don't have a lot to do in the books at this time. So, and I'd kind of forgotten that they share a common piece of information, which is the whole understanding and acknowledgement that Viserys wanted, essentially, they both think that either Viserys wanted Rhaenyra to be the prince that was promised, or is the prince that was promised, and to be the one that unites the realm against the darkness in the north, or he obviously told Alicent at the end of the last season that Aegon is the prince that was promised, and she's now in she's now full steam ahead with wanting Aegon on the throne, not just because she thinks he's the rightful heir to the throne, but because she thinks that this was Viserys' dying wish, to have Aegon be the Targaryen to protect against the darkness. So I love that they've got this commonality. It is obvious as to why that this wasn't included in Fire and Blood, because, well, one, it's a massive spoiler towards, you know, the whole A Song of Ice and Fire narrative, but 2, no priest or mushroom would have known about this conversation, so it absolutely makes 100% sense that this was not in the books. This would not have been documented, I don't think, by anyone, by any priest. So yeah, I'm glad they're bringing back the prophecy stuff, because for me it's such an interesting part of this story, and it really ties in with all of the other kind of magical elements and the prophetic elements that we've saw in season 1, and it ties massively back to the books as well. It was a great acted scene as well, actually, I thought, and the dialogue was really good. So just back to a couple of these final remaining scenes. One of the standout scenes for me was with Kristen Cole and Gwen, and we had that great dragon CGI with Moondancer and Rhaena. I thought that was fantastically done, and yeah, I think the CGI is absolutely on point this season. So what a great scene this was. Really climactic, and basically Gwen Hightower, do as you're fucking told, mate. Do exactly what the hand's telling you to do, and you're going to be safe. So I thought it was a greatly acted scene. I thought the CGI was on point. Rhaena stuck to the agenda as well. Don't engage, but figure out what's going on, and that's exactly what she did, and she's fed that back to Rhaenyra when she got back to Dragonstone. I thought there was a lot of tension and a lot of excitement in the scene as well. And obviously we got a couple of these scenes from the trailer, So it's great to see this play out in the episode. Not really much to be said about when they got back into the woods, because that's when kind of the scene died down a bit. But yeah, I thought it was a really well acted scene and some great tension. And Dragon's looking on fucking point, really. The CGI in this season is fantastic. Maybe the odd hiccup in episode 1 with Cyrax, which is Rhaenyra's dragon. But apart from that, the CGI has been fantastic. Now, we finally got Emily Alcock, I think her name is, back. Young Rhaenyra, back from season 1. And when I did my season 2 theory predictions video, go and check that out if you haven't. One of the bonus predictions I made was I believed that we would see again the young Rhaenyra and the young Alicent, either through flashbacks or some sort of, I don't know, vision of the past from someone. And we get young Rhaenyra dropped again. And I thought it was a fantastically done scene. And it's really pulling on Daemon's heartstrings here. And it's really pulling on both the ghosts of Harrenhal, but now I truly believe that they are almost kind of Alice Rivers in disguise. And I don't have, or do I? Let me just see if I've got a picture of Alice Rivers. Yeah, we have. Right, so we're going to go to that slide. Let's just go back. So we had Alice Rivers introduced, who is the last of the new main characters from the start of this season, and already she's a very mysterious character. I'm getting Melisandre vibes. I'm getting Miri Mazdur vibes as well, and it's clear that whatever kind of Ghost of Harrenhal shenanigans were going on was clearly linked to her because of all of her kind of magical wizardry or whatever powers she's got. And I think she's going to be a very interesting character in Daemon's story, as she is in the books. But yeah, I mean, overall, I think it was, it was it was a high 8, maybe low 9 episode. I thought it was strong acting again. The storylines are coming together really nicely. We're starting now to branch out into other storylines from season 1 and from the books as well. We're getting more of that prophetic stuff coming through, which I absolutely love and adore that they introduced that in season 1, episode 1. And it's really tying back into the books, which I love. Massive book fan. Yeah, really strong episode. If you've got any thoughts, leave them in the comments and I'll get to them. If you've got any questions, leave them in the comments. We've got the chat poll running, and we've got the final day of our community head-to-head Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon episode contest. Today's the final day of top 32, so let me know your thoughts on that in the comments in the community posts. But I think that's it. I think this is a bit of a quick one tonight, folks. Yeah, have your say in the comments after the live stream finishes, and yeah, look out for the review. That's going to be dropping in the next day or so. I think what we might do actually, just to round this off, let me see if I can get the episode 4 trailer. Let me just see. There we go. Right. Right, so I've turned the sound off so we don't get copyright strike. And I'm going to play it back at half speed because it's only for about 45 seconds. So hang on. Do we start... Is that Rook's Rest? Are we in Rook's Rest for episode 4? More politicking with Alicent. This looks like Laris, which is good. This looks like... I just hope to God it's not another fucking weird foot scene. This, again, looks like Aegon. He's kind of bored on his throne, isn't he? He's got really no interest. He just kind of wants to... And he's a bit pissed off because people keep holding him back. He just wants to get out there and get going on his dragon and, yeah, get involved with the action, really. I think everyone else... We are getting the Battle of Rook's Rest in episode 4. Oh, my God, this is going to be fucking mental. This is going to be seriously good. He's clearly had enough, and he clearly just wants to get out there and take action. On Dragonback, maybe. I don't know who this fella is, but this could be someone that they've captured, maybe, at the end of Rook's Rest. We'll get Gwen Hightower again as well. Hang on, that looks... I mean, it's clear. I don't think it's someone from Rhaenyra's council. Albeit, though, actually, no, that does look like the guy that said he was going to go back to... Was it Rosby? Or he was going to go back somewhere to his homeland? Now, is that Alicent there with a letter maybe from Rhaenyra? So if you're just joining us in the chat, I'm just reviewing the episode 4 preview. That maybe looks like a letter from Rhaenyra that she's opening up there. Hang on, is there... That could be... I'm pretty certain that that's someone from Rhaenyra's council, actually. So we saw that clip of Kristen Cole in the trailer before. A lot of references to the Rook's Rest battle. Finally, we get Vhagar. Finally, we get Vhagar in action, because we had that badass clip of Vhagar in the first trailer that we got for season 2, looking absolutely busted, and we get more of Vhagar. It doesn't look like though that Aemon is flying it. I mean, maybe he could be somewhere on the back or something. Maybe. Now that, if I'm not wrong, that's Maelys, who is Rhaenys's dragon. I think we just get the outline of her there. I think you can just tell by her hair there that's definitely Maelys, who looks fucking badass. Probably the best looking dragon. Albeit, actually, you can't get better than Caraxes, my redneck long boy. More shots from what looks to me like the Battle of Rook's Rest. Now, I can understand this scene making sense now. That Alice Rivers, or whatever she's done to him in this episode, as in episode 3, she's going to keep playing mind tricks on Daemon, and she's going to keep showing him the stuff that he either wants and he can't have, or just keeps messing with his mind and making him go fucking batshit crazy, basically. Because this is what he wants. He wants or does he want the throne? Does he just want to be loved? Maybe he just wants to be loved. But I get this now. It's not a flashback. It's just it's basically Alice Rivers playing Daemon up, getting into his head. Yeah, more about the battles to come. That might be Because that's... Hang on. Let's just go back. That, I mean, that's either... No, that you can tell, actually, that's Rhaenys and Maelys there, because you can tell by the spikes on its head there. Oh, yeah. Oh, this is the same shot. Right, more... so we're going to get more dragons. We're going to get more action. And obviously... Oh, yeah, because we're halfway through the season, actually, with this one now. So this is kind of like the mid-season finale. I mean, Stokeworth, you know, House Stokeworth, I think House Rosby. Oh, so there is the shot. There is a shot of Sunfire, who is meant to be the most beautiful dragon to ever exist. And it looks fantastic. And you can just make out Aegon there in the shot. And another cracking, that's a cracking shot, that is. Beautiful with the sun there. More of Gwen Hightower. Great CGI shot there of what looks again like Maelys. This could be Rhaena and Jace talking, or it could be his mum. I think we're going to find out. Yeah, this could be actually where he finds out about the prince that was promised and the Song of Ice and Fire. Daemon is on Vhagar. Confirmed. Looks badass, that does. Yep, this is going to be Aegon and Aemond versus Rhaenys. He's had enough. He's off skis. So this is... It's got to be Aemond kicking ass at the Battle of Rook's Rest. So that's it. That's it. That's all we've got. Fantastic. Looks unbelievable for next week. Really buzzing for it. Really looking forward to it. Tune in for our Monday night live stream, as always, next Monday. We'll try and get that done at 8 o'clock UK time. That seems like it's a good time for everyone. Yeah, if you've enjoyed the stream, drop a like. Put your thoughts about the episode in the comments. And I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers. Bye for now.